Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Coaching the Many, and instantly someone resubs as well. Just let's start. Thank you, Bullet, 1892 even. Welcome to the Many. Welcome back, you didn't even leave. I don't know why people say welcome back, but it's somehow internalized in my brain. But we're going to be talking about a very special hero today. We're going to be talking about Hanzo, probably the most controversial hero in Overwatch. The man where if you see Hanzo at the start of your game, you probably go, oh, for fuck's sake. And we're going to be talking about the Hanzo. Like, the Hanzo himself, Arrge. Now, you might be wondering, well, okay, so this is a Grandmaster Hanzo. This is one of the best Hanzos in the world. This is a guy who plays Hanzo non-freaking stop on the ladder. He's probably seen every bit of rage on the planet. He's been going through some recently, from what I understand as well, which is somewhat of a pity, but hey, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the positive. And we'll be talking about sort of what he's doing, maybe a couple of things that he can improve on. The one or two bits, oh, for God's sake, Lias. It's appreciated and not at the same time. You bastard. So a couple of things he's doing well, a couple of things that he might not be doing so well, all that kind of stuff, off-colored, spamming up the chat, the mod doing a good job there. Using the Overwatch Central emotes as well. Lovely. Good to see that those boys are still getting some money from somebody. Just kidding, I'm actually subbed to them, I think. They might be getting my Twitch Prime sub, I'm not sure. Anyway, start out the video. Arrge as Daddy Dragon. This is actually on his Smurf. Apparently, he's run into the problem where his name is so famous that people just start raging at him preemptively. But we're actually running Hanzo here on Iconvolt Attack, and it's actually, like, I like Hanzo on Iconvolt Attack. I think it's actually really strong, especially with the new angle. So if you aren't aware, there's the new pathway that goes in through this way. That's a really shitty arrow. I was actually going to do this, and then I just sort of looped around. But the cool thing about Hanzo on Attack is it gives you a lot of control over this area, and you can do a lot with the bridge. You can just bounce up, try and get some damage down and over, and you can actually do a lot from that. So you can contest this area really effectively. Of course, you could make the argument that Pharah could kind of do the same, but Pharah has to be a little bit careful. Pharah's also less inclined to just jump up, sort of stand up here and then just one-shot someone. So Hanzo gives us a lot of options. Also, the Sonic Arrow, of course, is very, very useful, and it's a key piece of Hanzo's kit that's really, really powerful. Interesting tip just for Reinhardt's also. So, you know, we get a nice Sonic Arrow right into Reinhardt's head. So this won't actually apply for now, but if a Hanzo shoots a Sonic Arrow into your shield, the arrow stays lodged in the shield. It's an actual physical object in the game. So if you are playing the Reinhardt and you've got a Sonic Arrow lodged in your barrier, and the Hanzo, especially if he's just fired it so you won't have time to knock and pull another arrow, just drop the barrier so the arrow drops to the floor, and then you put the barrier back up, and you're getting rid of that Sonic Arrow, that you're not pulling it around with your team and giving sort of information to people unnecessarily. Because this is in Reinhardt's forehead, he can't just drop his head off, unfortunately. But that's actually a good start for us, and it means basically I like what our team's done here is this is just run in. Like, whereas our tanks, Tracer's just pressured away in without even needing anything. People are just going in. We're running a very heavy dive comp. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the full team lineup just yet. You notice we can instantly start contesting this area. If we're worried, then we can drop back. Oh lord, here we go.
Welcome to Overwatch. Right Uga Waga Teki Woko Think.
Think, indeed. Thank you for the donation. No, I mean, we're just keeping, like, what's Reinhardt doing here? He's not protecting anything. We're just maintaining pressure, which is, honestly, a nice thing that we can do as Hanzo. They've got to be scared of the ability for us to just one-shot people. It's Hanzo's biggest strength is the ability to one-shot people. We'll get the Sonic in, and hey, we spot out a free kill. Who's being cagey? This seems showboaty to me and a little bit unnecessary, where we just decide to crouch walk over. She knows that we're there. She gets hit by an arrow. Spoiler, Anna's going to be aware enough that, hey, there's probably something going on over here. This is literally why she's intentionally covering for us. So the crouch walking to sneak over, I think, is a little bit... because we could have probably just run up here, just jumped up, done a little ramp up off this, shot down, nailed her in the forehead, rather than trying to be a little bit fancier, because then Anna just shuts us down. Feels bad, man. Good job, Anna. Well played, Anna. Luckily, our team doesn't need us at the moment. We're running a heavy DPS lineup. We completely whiff the Sonic Arrow, Scatter Arrow. Be very careful, ladies and gents, with your scatters, of course. It's very much worth mentioning that this, if you aren't aware, there is a slope here. And if you fire an arrow onto this slope, it's going to bounce off this way, as we shall see, hopefully. Overwatch physics. One of the Sonic scatters went this way. Oh, that's the eraser.
Welcome to Overwatch.
But hey, one of them kind of went there. Archer out with 4 months as well. Jesus, people.
Wow, I got no kills.
I do like this comment.
There goes my SR game.
There goes my SR, because of course he's playing a rare hero, so he's being compared against the average. But you're being compared against the average Hanzo, so because you got no kills, it's no different to every other Hanzo in the bloody game. Kappa, 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 kappa. No, honestly, like, we were doing okay. We were making the Reinhardt uncomfortable, at least, and that let Tracer and Pharah just run a train on them, basically. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the big picks, but on this first point attack, the team's aggression seems to have really paid off, and their team just seemed to fail completely in the defense, in my mind. Like, this is more on their team causing problems here. This Sonic Arrow, I don't like it. I don't like it in the slightest. So we seem to have just fired off a Sonic Arrow, and I noticed this is sort of a habit, and maybe Arrge can comment on this, because we fire off this arrow, that's fine. It's firing off the Sonic Arrow here. You know, in the perfect world, we hit the Anna with the Sonic Arrow, and we know exactly where the Anna is. But I see no reason why we couldn't just try and use default arrows and maybe just dump the Sonic Arrow somewhere up here so that we can see if anyone's still lurking around in this high ground area. And so you'll have info on if there's a threat potentially to us up here, or moving around here. We know where the Winston's going, what he's doing at all times. We could just try and bombard from long range. Of course, this isn't where this is where we're basically fishing for picks. This is what I would call fishing. I pretty much did that to have clear vision on the enemies and let my team know where the team is. Okay, that makes sense. Because they'll be coming through the choke point anyway. Like, we have nobody on the payload, but one person on the payload, so they'll know these two guys are mostly over there. That does make some sense. Doesn't help us, but does help the team. But this, yeah, is where we're basically fishing for picks. This is where we start having problems, because the Winston just starts harassing us, we just run away.
Crap, how do I stop this?
There we go. Yeah, I know, Nikop, it's terrible. You're actually paying my bills. I like the fact that we noticed that, hey, Winston's got no bubble. He whiffs the bubble, or just use it on the entry, so we can just sort of try and maybe get a pot shot, but hey, now we can just fish out this easy Winston. We miss a Cicada, so we're a bit worried. We try a Duke. I'm skeptical on the Duke with the Winston. Like, I'm fine with us doing this when there's a Genji, and I think Genji does start coming in now, so it starts working. But running up walls when the Winston's there, Winston doesn't give a shit. He's sat there with one hand on his mouse button, slouched back, just sort of dragging his mouse cursor all over the screen and getting the easiest kills in the world. So we keep our cool. This is sort of the big thing that I want to highlight, is that we keep our cool. And we even keep our cool to the point where we're protecting Mercy. And he mentioned in the email that he was actually trying to play Hanzo in a more defensive fashion, especially towards the end of the game. We'll talk about that when we get there. But he's basically trying to make sure that Mercy's also being protected. But, you know, once you spot that Winston's got no barrier, we can definitely turn and fight the Winston. I know Mist is very vocal about the fact that Winston's only scary if he has his barrier. After he's got rid of his barrier, he's not that scary for a Hanzo, especially if you've got a Mercy stood there. You have all the time in the world. Fine with that Sonic Arrow onto the Roadhog. You know where he is. Almost get the kill there, don't quite get the headshot. He, I think, makes the jump going down there, so if you don't know, he actually hasn't suicided. There is a pathway you can take. You can actually see him. See? Whoop, whoop. There's a little platform down there that you can jump onto. But we are going to take control of the high ground. Again, this is an area now where Hanzo is starting to get strong. So I like the fact that we're moving up here, because this is where we are incredibly powerful, right? We have a lot of impact over the battle. We can see a lot of targets. We have a good angle for our scatters as well. If we're firing towards the ground, then, you know, if someone's stood here, like, let's just pretend for a split second that this isn't a Genji, it's a target that we might want to scatter, then we're actually got a really nice angle. We can also start setting ourselves up to really control this thing here, which is going to be the most important thing in my mind going forward. Because basically the idea is we're going to try and get a couple of kills up here, try and take control of high ground and try and force their team back, and then any respawns they get, this is at least my plan, and this is my plan from playing like Widowmaker on this map, and I imagine the plan is very similar for playing Hanzo, where if you take control of this area and you manage to push the enemy team sort of further back, what you are looking to do then is just snipe down this, and especially if you have this thing like right here, this I imagine is very, very good for controlling that space. So the idea is now we're trying to control this area, which is lovely, and the Winston's sort of fucked up enough where we can do that, and we're going to start leveraging sort of our tools to manage that. So you see the Genji coming up, Winston's out of position. We're just going to drop back. And it's nice to see one Shimada brothers, at least somewhat polite. I mean, he calls out that he needs healing, but we always drop back for the Mercy because we can easily just reset on the high ground. No reason to take a risk there. Shoot Genji in the bomb. Take him out there. Nice and slick. And again, we're just controlling high ground space. I like this positioning, and now we can move after a couple of kills. We can start taking control of this. I dislike this. I actually dislike this. I think we have enough things up here. Like, we don't need to be dealing with this Roadhog. We can leave this to the Tracer, the Farah. He could come back and be a problem for us later. But honestly, if we just stay here and control this space, anyone trying to come through this corridor, and people try this all the time for some weird reason, we can just control that. Take over that. Rather than going and dealing with the Roadhog that Tracer is already kind of handling. They do actually manage to come out of this side though, but hey. Someone else gets, like, you see the Genji's coming out this way. We can leverage that control a little bit. And trust in our teammates while we continue getting these kills. This is where, again, like, this position right here, I'm less keen on. This, to me, is more of a Widowmaker position than a Hanzo position. And the reason why I say that is because targets are going to be duking around in this area. And if you think about a line of sight, it's a little bit blurry. But if you think about our actual line of sight available, we have like these areas. And then pretty much everything else is covered. Like everything else is covered. We can't cover the doorway because it's actually getting blocked at the moment. So we're a little bit too far in this way. So our targets are actually limited in availability. We could maybe get a kill. But this to me is like more of a widowmaker position. Now we're actually leveraging our strength a little bit. Sort of moving around. And now we're playing really careful. Because we're worried about this McCree that sort of snuck off. And we're so focused on getting this McCree. I think we were scared that maybe he's going to try for a Deadeye, which is perfectly possible. So let me just watch where he's going. I've watched this through, but I want to make sure. I like the fact that we call it out. Good call out. I'd say the only thing we're really scared of, though, is Deadeye. Like, imagine, and the reason why I say that is, imagine a world where we move forward, and the McCree's on the high ground. If he Deadeyes, that's a problem, but we can probably cover behind the payload. It's a little bit scary. Maybe we can get a snipe on him, but that's sort of the scary thing. But otherwise, if he's standing up there and he's just plinking away, like at this distance between McCree and the targets he's trying to hit, it's actually not that scary. Like, he's going to be doing about, what, 30 damage a shot, maybe, on body shots, and maybe getting a headshot every now and then. But it's going to be a lot more limited. Now we've actually presented him with a target, he rolls forward, flashbangs, right clicks. Fair enough on that. Mercy, though, goes nuts. Res is just us, which is actually quite nice because we have the Dragon Strike. And this is honestly like one of the tips I actually give people. Is that if you are dead with ult and you see a Mercy holding on to res, he's trying to evaluate, you know, what's available, what isn't. So just press Z and just let her know, oh, Dragon Strike's available. So if she reses you, she knows, the Mercy can sort of calculate that and go, oh, well, I'm not just picking up a Hanzo, I'm picking up a Hanzo with a Resurrect. So it's just a little bit more info. I like the Dragon Strike on the point. I like the, just Hanzo things as we flick across. Like, again, this is the power of controlling this space, controlling that corridor. This is what we want to be doing as Hanzo. We want to be shutting down any areas where people want to turn corners, run around them. Especially if they're funneled into areas, we can definitely put a lot of pressure on that. This is where we get scared though when we have a target with 1,000 hit points. That's a little bit dicey for us to actually be able to kill. Like, we can't just get rid of that, unfortunately. And we can keep spamming arrows into it, maybe being safe. We could move on to the high ground here, for example, just to get maybe a slightly better angle, or we could just do what we're doing now, which is put the Sonic Arrow on that, in which case I'd be more eager to try and pursue the Lucio, but now that we've got a scatter, now we can definitely try and get onto the Winston. So we put that on him, team finished him off, Soldier comes in, gets the kill, feels good, man. It's nice to have a Soldier as well. Mercy is just spamming group up like crazy, not realizing that the fight is actually still happening on the point. Like the scatter, love this on the point. I think, did the arrow cut through the Tracer? I think it did. No, we just barely clip her and she blinks forward out of it, but not before Soldier gets the rocket. But again, this just gives us control of the point. Basically, it gives Winston and Farah an easy job because their team has to pull back into this small area. So Winston and Farah can do whatever they like and basically take control of this. And we can also, if we wanted, push this way. The only issue is that nothing's moving the payload, which is where I'd be a little bit scared. Not really our job, more Soldier 76's job to run forward and start pushing on the payload, putting pressure on the payload. This Anna is just silly. I really actually like this. We're sort of tucked in, scared. I thought this was actually really cute. Because that Anna is actually going to have line of sight issues from that angle. Because what universally teams do on Iconvolt on this point is they universally like sort of bounce around the back here and don't come out into this space. Because why would they? They'd be in line of sight, which is where they need to be for the Anna to heal them. For Pete's sake. So I did like this. And then we're just sort of hunting down. Now we're trying to get some exit kills. So we're trying to get people as they run back. I like the Sonic Arrow there, just to see if we can catch anyone. See if we can spot anyone out. Just lets us set up an arrow. We, of course, can't see anyone. But hey, oh, free McCree. Ah, just whiff it, unfortunately. And again, we're controlling corners. We want to just control this area while we wait for the team to come through. Get a headshot on the Roadhog, apparently. Hashtag just Hanzo things. It was interesting to hear you comment that, you know, I'm missing my flicks, which...
At my scatters?
And my scatters as well, yeah. This was an unfortunate moment where we just see the scatter just sort of, I don't know, go miles. I can't comment too much on the aiming style because Arrge himself is a flicker. He flicks for shots, which a lot of Hanzo players do. I'm a tracker, so I will track and then do a small flick, where he will just do these big flicks, which I can't really do with this. It looks so good, right? It looks amazing. We got a Dragon Strike with just the payloads rolling. They're all dead. We have Tac Visor on the high ground. Tracer Bomb comes in, doesn't kill anyone. Holy moly, surely we've won this game in, like, we've completed the entire thing. And then we just seem to have problems, because basically this happens. The diva. And then they just keep on stalling out, and this is where sort of the weakness of Hanzo starts coming in, where I just want to sort of go over this. This, to me, is the big problem with Hanzo. And part of this does fall on sort of Soldier 76's shoulders as well. But any other DPS will probably confirm this kill. And this is where it sort of, the weakness starts to come in. Hanzo is extremely good at doing medium range sort of one-shot kills. He's a good positioning from the McCree, gets himself a double kill. Sound barrier does... I think sound barrier is still saved though, it doesn't actually go off. So yeah, he can use it if he wants it, uses it. We get bounced back, Winston's isolating us away from the point, and we just seem to lack steam and lack tank busting capability, which is a weird thing to say because we're running Pharah, Soldier, and Hanzo. Should be able to explode a tank. But because they have that diva, we just can't get through the defense matrix, and that's where the frustration comes through. And that's where like this damage just suddenly stops. And then because they start running Tracer, and I think they run the Genji as well at some point as well. It's mostly just the Tracer and Winston, though the Tracer and Winston does both do a really good job of just trying to get onto the Mercy, so we start playing more defensively as well, which is putting even less kill pressure on, so we're just lacking that significant punch to get through their team. And the Diva is just a great pick against us, because she's shutting down so much of what we're trying to do. Again, just an example of like, this is damage amp plus scatter arrow, and just like, see how fast the Winston bubble dies. Just make sure that, guys, if you are going to scatter arrow Winston bubble, note very carefully, let's set it to half speed. There is a hotkey for this, and I'm sure someone in chat's going to tell it to me. Half speed. Note where we put the scatter arrow. If you hit the actual dome itself, the scatter arrow will bounce off it. So don't hit the dome itself with the arrow, we'll just do that one arrow's damage. Hit in front of it, hit in front of the Reinhardt barrier if you want to do the full damage, and you'll get the all 5 hitting actual dome. Damage amp, I think, comes in just in time. No, actually doesn't, I don't think. I think it's just the combined DPS of everyone anyway, as they go through. Because so far the Hanzo's been okay, but I'd say also that the team has been doing an excellent job of just doing a lot of pressure and just doing a lot of damage. We managed to sort of squeeze out on the second point of Viking Vault because we had a position advantage, where we just kept killing them. They kept staggering and staggering and staggering and staggering. This is sort of the recurring problem for their team, is that they stagger a lot. This was a ass puckering moment, because now if this is coming around the corner, we decide to fire off a dragon. I'm actually okay with that dragon, because she's fired off the mech, we know it's perfectly safe, and we barely get out of there, so it kind of works out. We do have a Zarya that's just come out, but the Zarya is literally just swapped, so there's no danger of her getting the Graviton Surge in time. We cut the Lucio, feels good, man. This is actually a question that I'm going to address to you, Arrge, because your policy on Soldier 76 is firing off ults. Because when I'm playing Widowmaker and I hear that, I try and land a single shot. I will try and go for the shot very aggressively, usually, on the ulting Soldier 76. And that's because usually when a Soldier 76 fires off Tactical Visor, the first thing he does is he sprints forward, and he usually just runs straight forward, maybe he does a jump. And if you land a single shot on him, as Hanzo or Widow, I imagine, it's both pretty similar, you've got him down to about half hit points. Just usually just under half hit points. That's usually enough for someone else to have done something as well to finish off the target. But I noticed that we're very reluctant to even poke into that as they sort of come out here, as the Soldier ults. So I was just kind of curious to see how we use the Sonic Arrow to sort of push ourselves away from the Soldier instead of going for it, which is... It might just be me, because I like taking those risks, and I like the idea of, like, if Soldier 76 ults and I kill him, then that's just completely shut them down and completely remove that value, but this is definitely the safer move. This is sort of the scary moment. And again, this Winston is not only occupying us, but he's also occupying the Mercy. Like, we're just getting completely blocked out here by the Winston. And you'll notice that we are not killing anything. And you even say on stream, we have no damage. And the reason why it feels like we have no damage is because we're constantly shooting at this Winston, and occasionally shooting at the Tracer. We managed to get the Winston with, I think, the arrow that goes through the wall. Yeah, that's before the dragon even appears, so... The Winston goes down, dragon comes out now. And we start moving in, but the problem is... we have no damage actually fighting on the point, and this to me speaks to sort of some of the weaknesses of Hanzo. Hanzo is very good when the enemy team has to sort of run to somewhere and move to somewhere, because we can put down the sonic arrow, we can see where they're moving, we can contest that space in the areas where they're standing, put down scatter arrows as they move places. If they peek, then we can definitely punish that. Hanzo is excellent at punishing people doing peeking. But what the enemy team is doing right now is they're not really doing that. They're just running out this short distance and then usually just cowering like round the back of this. And then there's usually like a Winston bubble or a defense matrix covering this entire area. And as such, we have no ability to sort of get our damage through and get our damage in there outside of these Dragon Strikes. And this is where I'd be a little bit careful about using these Dragon Strikes so aggressively. This second one that we used to get the Winston, it was after an engagement, and this is what I would call, and Miss is more than familiar with this. This is sort of what I would term a more naked dragon, where we've sort of lost this fight. You know, Mercy's down already. You can see there's one person contesting the point. What are we really getting with this dragon? We're starting to push in now, but Mercy's dead. Soldier's dead. Can we actually push this and take this before their reinforcements come in? Well, no, it's the last point of Iconwald. Of course, their reinforcements are going to come in way before ours. If we communicate with Zarya, she might be on 50%, but she's getting a lot of charge. She's getting a lot of damage. She's shooting into close quarters, and she's shooting a D.Va. She might have that the Graviton available sooner rather than later. We should be checking how she's doing for that, because honestly, the Graviton Surge the Graviton Surge combo is one of the easiest ways to sort of just win in this situation. So being a little bit patient with that and just trying to set that combo up when you had like still 30 seconds left in the game. There's still time to set that combo up and maybe get it off. And get it working. So I was a little bit disappointed to see that dragon come out. It just felt a little bit too early. And just, you know, I'm okay with the fuck you to Winston as a fellow sniper player, but yeah. Ooh. Hello, the Rogue Thread. You flag my name in chat without saying anything else. Then you see the Graviton come out. We barely managed to get the dragon back in time. This is, of course, one of the advantages of Hanzo, is that if you are reliably hitting targets, you are going to get dragons very, very, very quickly. And we only get one target in it because I think D.Va just rockets out with the nano boost on the D.Va, just for extra durability, I guess. But this is where you notice, hey, we start winning. Easiest arrows of a life. And this is sort of, to me, again, the power of a sniper.
What the?
Damage boost on me plus a lot of tanks on the enemy teams means I can get ult in 10 seconds, yeah. I'd be concerned about that a little bit, maybe. Again, part of me is just saying, like, the dragon was still wasteful, if that makes sense. It was still like an ultimate after when we didn't need it. And this is also a team lineup where there might be situations where if we don't have scatter arrow available and they put a bubble down and then D.Va starts absorbing stuff, we just get shut down. Like, we get sort of lucky here. Like, these kills are a result of D.Va just not doing her job. Actually, these kills are a result of Anna nano boosting a D.Va and D.Va putting it into her head that, oh, this means I should be doing damage. All of these kills are the result of this is what I would call nano-boosted Reinhardt syndrome. So tanks, like, this is a lesson for tanks, okay? Pay the fuck attention, because this is really, really important. As an Anna player, I do not care. If I put a nano boost on you, and you have to keep the barrier up to save lives, do it. I will not get angry at you as an Anna player, because what this D.Va player is thinking right now is, I have nano boost, I can kill all these people up close to me on the point, and maybe win us the game. I won't press defense matrix. And so, we get a kill with the dragon, we get a kill on the Winston, kill on the Anna, kill on the Lucio. Scatter goes through, removes that. D.Va gone. We emote, Salty 76 is still stood behind it like a dick. There we go, he gets cleared. Unfortunately, Tracer manages to get back in time. Because this is the final point of Iconwald, ladies and gentlemen, the enemy team spawns literally on top of the point, and so we'll start coming back out. Toxic Hanzo throws the game. Honestly, I don't, because we didn't even know he was there, it's like, we wouldn't have even noticed anyway. I don't think the emote makes any real difference. But notice that now that the tanks are gone, and like, we're tucking in a bit closer, and then there's actually people fighting all over the place, we're actually doing damage now, where it felt like we weren't really doing damage before, we were just shooting at these tanks. And because we got a Roadhog and a Zarya now cutting through the tanks, we can actually start doing shit. And the D.Va's dead, of course, so we can actually push through.
Happening here? I shouldn't need to carry this hard. Says,
Soldier, I shouldn't need to carry this hard.
Can you stay on top for a bit to heal me? Damage boost and stuff.
Okay, we instantly cut through to the defense. Yeah, I shouldn't need to carry this hard, says Soldier. I honestly think the reason why you guys won there was the swap to Roadhog and the swap to Zarya. So Zarya first swapped from, I'm not sure what they actually swapped from. It might have been the Farah. Swapping to the Zarya in response to the Diva was perfectly good. And then swapping to the Roadhog just to shut down the Monkey, just to get those quick kills and put pressure on their tanks was probably enough as well to make sure that then we were freed up to do our job. So when pressure is removed from the Sniper, then the Sniper can do job.
Hopefully between YouTube vids Kappa hype.
Probably not, but hey. Let's move on to the defense then. There you go. That'll work as a nice